Have you ever met someone who seemed fragile on the outside, yet carried a strength so unshakable that it left you speechless? Sometimes true strength isn't about muscles or power. It's about the quiet resilience of a soul that refuses to break, even when the world pushes it to the edge. This is the story of such a person. A story that begins not with victory, but with loss. And yet, it shows us how an empty mind and a full heart can build the kind of strength most of us only dream of. Pause for a moment. Imagine this: a young man sitting alone on a worn-out wooden bench in a small village park. His shoulders are slouched, his eyes staring at nothing. The world passes him by, children running, old men chatting, women carrying baskets of fruit, but he sits still, as though he's invisible. His name, Ion, was not born strong. In fact, for most of his life, people saw him as the weakest in the room. He wasn't the fastest in school, nor the sharpest in class. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't talented. And yet, deep inside him, there was something quietly building a seed, waiting for the right moment to grow. That moment came the day his life fell apart. It was a rainy evening when the phone rang. His father, the man who held their family together, had collapsed at work. By the time Ion reached the hospital, it was too late. His father was gone. In that single moment, the walls of his world came crashing down. His mother's tears became the sound of his nights. His younger sister's frightened eyes became the mirror of his own helplessness. And Ion, he felt like nothing more than an empty shell, an empty mind, drifting without purpose. He wanted to run away, to hide, to forget. But here's the truth. Life doesn't give you an escape door. It pushes you harder, tests you deeper, and waits to see if you will rise. One evening, weeks after his father's death, Ion walked into that little park, sat on the bench, and for the first time allowed the silence to surround him. He had no thoughts left. His mind was empty. No plans, no answers, no strength, just emptiness. And in that emptiness, something unexpected happened. He heard his heart. It wasn't a voice, it was a feeling, a warmth, a simple but powerful whisper. You can't give up now. Not for yourself, not for them. And so, with an empty mind and a full heart, Ion began his journey. He started small, waking up early, even when he wanted to sleep all day, helping his mother cook breakfast, walking his sister to school, even when the road felt longer than ever. These weren't big heroic acts, but they were steps of strength, steps of love. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. People around him started noticing. The boy who once hid behind others was now standing taller. The son who had lost his father was now quietly becoming the father figure his family needed. His empty mind no longer carried the chaos of fear and doubt. Instead, it carried peace. And his heart was overflowing with love, with responsibility, with purpose. But life, as always, doesn't stop testing. One day, his sister fell ill. The medicine she needed was expensive. Too expensive. Ion had no savings, no steady job, and once again, the walls threatened to collapse. That night, sitting on the same park bench, rain dripping from the branches above, he asked himself, "What do I really have?" And the answer came, just as before, not from his mind, but from his heart. You have strength, you have two hands, you have faith. That is enough. So he worked. He picked up shifts at a local workshop, carried bricks at a construction site, washed dishes at a small eatery. His body ached, his hands blistered, but he refused to stop. Because strength isn't the absence of pain. It's the refusal to surrender. When his sister finally recovered, Ion realized something powerful. Strength doesn't shout. It doesn't boast. It doesn't need to be seen. True strength is silent, steady, and born from love. An empty mind keeps you calm in the storm. A full heart keeps you moving through it. Together, they make you unbreakable. And here's the part that touches me the most. Ion never became rich. He never became famous. He didn't conquer kingdoms or build empires. But in the eyes of his mother and sister, he was the strongest man alive. And maybe that's the only recognition that really matters. So what about us? What about you? Maybe you're listening right now. carrying your own battles. Maybe you've lost something precious. Maybe you feel empty, like there's nothing left. If so, remember Ion's story. Emptiness is not weakness. Sometimes it's the space you need for your heart to speak. And when your heart is full of love, full of faith, full of courage, there is no weight too heavy, no storm too wild, no night too dark. True strength doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like showing up when you'd rather stay in bed. Sometimes it's holding back tears so someone else can smile. Sometimes it's just whispering to yourself, I will try again tomorrow. My friend, strength isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking and still choosing to heal. It's about knowing that even when your mind is empty, your heart can still be full. And that is a story worth carrying. As we end, let this story stay with you. Not as just another tale, but as a reminder, when you face your next challenge, when the world feels heavy, when you think you have nothing left empty, your mind, fill your heart, and walk forward. Because true strength doesn't come from the head. It comes from the heart. If this story touched you, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments what strength means to you. Let's create a space of hope and courage, where stories like Ion's remind us that we're never alone in our struggles. And if you believe more people need to hear stories like this, stories of quiet strength and hidden courage, then please share this video with a friend. Subscribe for more stories that don't just pass the time, but leave a mark on your heart. Because sometimes all it takes is a story to remind us how strong we truly are.